Ghost, week 9. We are live. We both got baseball hats on today. We did not plan that. I'm not really a Dodgers fan, but over the Yankees, I am a Dodgers fan. I'm a Freddie Freeman fan. Really happy for him. I mean, fucking put the team on his back. I don't know. I figured if we wear a World Series winning hat, and then obviously the Expos is a win daily staple for big weeks usually. So I think we got good vibes here. World Series, Dodgers winning hat here, and then obviously Ghost with the throwback Expos. Ghost, how are we feeling today? What are your thoughts on the slate overall? I think it is interesting to say the least. Ownership is all over the place. I feel like I'm incredibly different, but also incredibly chalky at the same time. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, seems to be a recurring theme the last couple of weeks where there's just chalk spots that are, in other scenarios we'd be able to easily fade, and because of multiple injuries creating that chalk, it's kind of tough to fade it. We saw it last week with Kate Otten. I mean, when would me or you ever be saying to play a chalk $3,500 tight end? You know what I mean? That would never happen. But last week I barely played any other tight ends but Kate Otten, and it just seems to be that kind of season for everybody. Everybody's banged up, and I know a lot of people are talking about their fantasy leagues and best ball scenarios where they're like, hey, if you drafted any wide receivers this year, you are cooked. And now it's starting to get to their running backs too. And it's just like, look, it's that type of season, guys. You got to be able to pivot. And I mean, as long as the weather holds up in a couple games, there's one spot that I think could be really enticing in the late part of the slate. But yeah, there's going to be a couple chalk spots to be able to tough to avoid.
For whatever it's worth, I am starting Mason Rudolph in a 2 QB league this week, so it's gotten that gross. Let's run through a couple injuries real quick. If you guys got anything to add, and all you paying attention out there, if you want to throw in some comments on any questions you may have, we're here for you. Greatly appreciate everybody tuning in. And then if you got injury news as the half hour comes across here, Ghost, I feel like you're frozen. Are you frozen?
No, you're back. Okay. At least not on my side. Yeah. All right. I was just looking at the injuries. So
yeah. So right now I'll start with a couple key ones for Baltimore. Marlon Humphrey is back. That is good for that secondary who's been getting torched on a weekly basis here. For Dallas, DeRon Bland is not going to return. Micah Parsons is obviously still out. I believe Trayvon Diggs is on the wrong side of questionable, so that would be an interesting one to see right around 10:30. I don't know if it matters a ton, but obviously you guys are going to be very interested in people like Drake London, Darnell Mooney, et cetera, et cetera. For Miami, both defensive backs, obviously safety Javon Holland and Kader Kohu are out. The Saints are the walking wounded today. It looks like Taysom Hill is going to be the most popular tight end who's going to play running back / quarterback / slot receiver / tight end / regular receiver. So as much as I want to shit on Taysom Hill, I'm never a Taysom Hill guy. I think it's probably the week you just take it. But for the Saints, Jamal Williams out, Bub Means is out, Kendre Miller is back on the IR, Marshawn Lattimore out, Rico Payton, the backup, I believe, to Kool-Aid McKinstry, who's also out. So Payton will be on the outside there if he is good to go. I think he's on the wrong side of questionable too. So I don't know who's playing DB for them. Carolina, Adam Thielen's out. Jonathan Brooks is not going to make his debut. I was excited for that. Xavier Legette is good to go. If you listen to the First and Six podcast, he was quite questionable. It sounds like he's good to go. The Raiders, pretty clean. Cincinnati, T. Higgins is out. Zach Moss is out. Orlando Brown, one of their best tackles probably, if not the best tackle on that offensive line, is out. Chargers, pretty clean. Cleveland, pretty clean. Washington and New York, pretty clean. Drake May's good to go for the Patriots. Tennessee, we got Tajay Spears out. Do we have anything on Tyler Boyd, or is he?
Tyler Boyd should be good to go.
Good to go.
Yeah,
okay,
Tyler Boyd should be. That was, unless something changed this morning, he should be good to go.
Yeah, I'm not super interested in that game at all, but when all the ownership is going to go to Jalen Coker and Parker Washington in the 3K range, maybe Nick Westbrook Akine would have been nice if Tyler Boyd's out, but sounds like he's good to go. Tony Pollard's going to play. L'Jarius Sneed's out. Bears, pretty clean, other than Brisker. It doesn't really matter for our fantasy stuff here today. Jacksonville, it sounds like Gabe Davis is doubtful. Everybody else, ETN, Brian Thomas Jr., good to go. Tank Bigsby, good to go. So Gabe is out. That explains probably the interest or the late morning interest for most people here with Parker Washington. Detroit pretty clean. Green Bay, quick question for you. Jordan Love is going to play. Why does no one talk about Jair Alexander never playing football anymore? That guy will play 4 games a season and still gets like notoriety of being a stud cornerback. The guy never fucking plays anymore. It's like everybody picks on, maybe it's just like who I follow on Twitter, but it's like Kendre Miller is damn near a rookie. Jair Alexander has been around for a long time, talks a ton of shit, is great when he's on the field, but he just doesn't play football anymore.
I feel like it's that, like, for me at least, it really started with Richard Sherman, where it's not injury related, but you get these cornerbacks that are, you know, headliners for 2-3 seasons, and then after that it's like on to the next guy. You know, it's like that Toy Story meme. They're like, I don't want to play with you anymore. It's like we saw it with Richard Sherman with that Seattle defense, and then we saw it with Jalen Ramsey, and then now we're seeing it with Jair. It's like everyone's talking about Christian Gonzalez and PS2. It's like I don't know, man. That Green Bay defense is, for me, wildly overrated. I think there's a lot of opportunity, but we'll talk about that for the Lions on the road.
But it's like that's a team that has like significant playoff upside, and they need him. And no one, I don't know. It's just weird to me that no one ever talks about Jair Alexander.
They can't stop the run, right?
Never playing football. Yeah, that too. For the Rams, Puka is good to go, correct? That is what we are hearing.
From what I'm hearing, yeah. Honestly, if this guy's got a helmet on the side of the field, I trust that he's going to go for 1 million catches and 1 million yards. Last week he was supposed to play on a snap count, and the guy goes 7 for 100 yards and was getting 1 million targets. So, I mean, I don't know how much trust I have in that Rams injury report after that, but
I've said it for a long time. And I know a lot of people say it on XM radio too. Like, I have a hard time believing any beat writer. I think there's like one that I actually like, and it's his name's Ben Baby for the Cincinnati Bengals. If that guy says something, it's happening. But Puka only did play 57% of the snaps last week, so I guess he technically was on a pitch count, but a first read target share was through the roof last week. Seattle game.
The way that they were phrasing it, they made it seem like he's going to play 2 snaps that like to block in the slot or something. Like that was completely different. Yeah, wow. Yeah, we're not going to talk about Joel Embiid, or else I'm going to talk about Joel Embiid for the next 50 minutes.
Yeah, no,
how much I hate that guy. But
I come here to get away from the NBA. Seattle, DK Metcalf is out, which sucks. I have him in damn near every single league and need him this week.
Yeah.
Noah Fant is out. That one caught me by surprise. I was driving around Friday, and I believe Noah Fant was a full participant on Thursday, so it really caught me off guard. I've been talking about AJ Barner on this show and on the First and Six podcast often. I just feel like he's one of those guys that really passes the eye test. He was a stud at Michigan, 6'6". He can move, he can catch. I just, he's going to have some mental errors out there. I think he's missed a couple blocking assignments that I've seen when I've kind of watched him, and he, like, the coaching staff does not fuck around with that. I think they yank him off the field right away, but he's been a good ADOT guy too. Like, he gets 10, 11 yards per catch. So if he can get pretty active here, Noah Fant, it's not like a tight end spot in general, this Seattle offense with the college scheme that we see out of the Washington man there, but Noah Fant's been getting 4 or 5 targets. So it's, again, I don't expect the world out of AJ Barner, but DK Metcalf is out. So it just seems like they just go right to Jackson Smith and the Jigba, and I do fear that he is incredibly under-owned this week. But let's go into quarterbacks. And again, if you guys got any more injury news, I think one that we're watching, Ghost and I were talking about prior, was Brian Robinson for Washington. I think if he does go, it does sound like it'll be a little bit of a pitch count, but we've talked about this pitch count shit. Who knows what it actually means? Ghost, quarterbacks, 7K or above on DraftKings. Are you prioritizing any? The ownership is pretty spread out. Yeah, Josh Allen is my cash game quarterback. I do need to upgrade the playbook here. I believe Jaden Daniels was going to be my guy, but now that everybody's going to Taysom Hill, I got some savings at the tight end spot, so I could pay up for Josh Allen. I'm going to put that in right now. And I'm going to play Jalen Coker in cash too. So Taysom Hill,
you have to.
In there. All right. So
in my last run, he's projecting to be the top 1 wide receiver, and we'll talk about that when we get to wide receivers. But
yeah. All right. So Josh Allen cleared number one for both of us, I think. Any interest in Jaden Daniels,
Yeah.
7,500, sub 5% ownership? I feel like that's a
If
nice
Brian
spot.
Robinson doesn't play, yes, I will not be playing. I'm talking strictly tournaments now.
Yeah.
I will not be playing, I assume, what will be chalk Austin Eckler at 5,300 on DraftKings.
Yeah, I'm
I
not
will
very
not be
interested.
playing. I will take the rushing upside with Jaden Daniels. And this game's got sneaky GPP appeal too. You could stack that game fairly easily. So
All right. No, I
I will
got
play
no
Jaden
love.
Daniels. I'll tell you what. I think I saw Jaden Daniels at like really high at the beginning of the week, and then it was trending way down as people went towards the mid range quarterbacks, which we're going to talk about next. But if Jaden Daniels stays at sub 5%, I have 10% Jaden Daniels. I plan on doubling the field. So if I go 10% Jaden Daniels, I'm probably going to increase that to 15 or 20 if Brian Robinson gets rolled out.
Yeah, I think there's really like three quarterbacks that I'm actually interested in. Josh Allen and Jaden Daniels being two out of the three. You don't need us to talk about Jalen Hurts. My opinion is I find it hard to believe Jacksonville stays close in this game, so I don't see a ceiling game for Jalen Hurts. I think he's fine for cash. And if you do have him in your current lineup, don't take him out just simply because I said that. I'm not there. Actually, I guess I have interest in four quarterbacks. Joe Burrow, 6,900. What do you think about Joe Burrow?
I really like Joe Burrow. I think this is a statement game, especially with the way that he's been in the media. You could tell the guy's just fed up. And I think this is a go Tigers day. I feel like Jamar Chase goes I think Jamar Chase breaks the slate today. That's gonna be. Go ahead.
I fear he breaks the slate too.
Yeah,
I don't have
that's
enough of him.
that's really that's the flag that I planted right now. I get it. We're gonna talk about Chase Brown. I'm a big Chase Brown fan. One of my top 3 running backs in best ball exposure. So I'm very excited for Zach Moss to not play this week. But Chase Brown has never really been the 25 carry, kind of guy. So
At Illinois,
Joe
he was.
Burrow,
That guy never left the field. They ran him to
right,
the ground in Illinois, and he's a little guy. But
right.
now I guess the competition is huge, and they weren't. I mean, Big Ten football, those D lines are pretty big. So I think he could
That's
take
the
the
thing.
workload.
Like,
I
I,
think people
I
say the
think,
same shit about James Cook, and then you see him get 20
yeah.
touches a game to the second half of last season, and so far when he's healthy this year,
And
like
he's just so
I think he can do
explosive,
it.
right? He doesn't need 25 carries to do damage today. Chase Brown does not need 25 touches to do damage on the ground against Vegas. And my only concern is that with Orlando Brown, that's Max Crosby's side. So that is, I guess I could say, a little bit cause for concern, but I'm not worried, man. Like, for me, it's a Joe Burrow statement game. We were talking about this with some of the guys that, like, if you look at their schedule right now, they're still in the playoff hunt. I know it's tough to see it on paper, their record right now, and saying, oh, okay, like they're toast, and
Gotta
major
win.
changes are coming to Cincy, etc. When you look at their schedule, I think they might lose maybe 1 or 2 games, and the rest they win out. And it would not surprise me if the Bengals make a crazy run to make a wild card. I still firmly believe that the Bengals make the playoffs, and I think it starts this week right here. This is a Joe Burrow statement game written all over it.
Yeah, I don't think I'm very interested. Like right now, I'm just using Underdog as a source because I feel like it's the most easy thing to sift through on a desktop. But Chase Brown's rushing yards there is 67.5. I think that's a little too much. I'm probably not going to bet it. I have him at 65. So yeah, there's no edge on me to go either way there. But what I do think, looking at the coverage here for the Raiders, oh fuck, we already went into running backs. We'll wait. I'm sorry, we're getting too into the weeds here. All right, so you like Joe Burrow? We'll get back on track here. Kirk Cousins, Dak Prescott are going to be very popular. We do have like some severe weather in Green Bay. It looks like it is going to be extremely windy and rainy all day long. So I'm not interested in Jared Goff. Obviously not paying $7,000 for a potentially injured Jordan Love. Don't love Kyler Murray. I do need him to have a good day because my favorite quarterback in tournaments right now is Caleb Williams at 6,100. Everybody loved Tua last week. Everybody loved Tyreek Hill last week. I love that game in general. I went the other way. I double stacked Kyler, which was fantastic, but I had fucking Michael Pittman everywhere and it ruined it. But I love Caleb Williams. I have him at like 2% ownership. I have no one on DJ Moore. So 6,100 for Caleb Williams, who does average 30 rush yards a game. I think this is a great spot for him. Sean Murphy Bunting is coming back for Arizona. I think that is actually more of an advantage to DJ Moore because he cannot keep up with speed wide receivers. I think they'd be better off putting him on Rome and having him shadow the big body guy, Rome Odunze. And here's the thing for Caleb. I think this is the game that he has to get right. Obviously, Shane Waldron is probably a loss away from getting on a different plane home and not having a job. But Arizona is the third worst team in pressuring the quarterback. Caleb Williams has a expected in the 80 model. I think his actual stats when pressured, it's 39% completion rating. I have him at expected at 34. So if they're not going to like that's why he struggles is when they get pressure. Obviously, that offensive line fucking sucks. But if they can't pressure him, I think Caleb can, going back a little bit west, probably has some family at the game today. He's a swag guy and wants to get the crowd behind him. I think Caleb Williams is a steal at 6,100, and I'm pretty sure he's insanely affordable on FanDuel. I love my build on FanDuel this week.
I know you weren't on the show last week. I don't know if you got a chance to tune in, but I was singing praises for Caleb Williams, and he absolutely burned me. I don't hold grudges. I'm going. He was my top one quarterback last week, and I still did really well, but I had so much potential with those lineups. Only getting 10 points for my quarterback really sucked because my skill position players went absolutely nuts. But look, I don't hold grudges. I'm going back to him again this week. Way less so.
When the Colts didn't have DeForest Buckner, they couldn't pressure, and look what he did there.
Right, I know, but I got another 2 quarterbacks down in that range that are more of a priority for me than Caleb Williams. But I am still playing him for what it's worth. I'm just not going him as my main quarterback.
You like Stafford and Geno, don't you?
No, I'm not playing Geno. I like Stafford, depending on the weather in that game. If anybody has any updates on that,
looks clear. Looks good.
It looks good to go, man. And for me, that game going completely on their own, I get it. Like, again, I don't want to, we're kind of all over the place today, but, talking about Kyrie Williams and everyone's going to Alvin Kamara, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the wide receivers with everyone going to the top with CeeDee Lamb. And I just highlighted Jamar Chase with my bro stacks, and you could easily stack Matt Stafford with both Puka and Cooper Kupp, and Noah Fant being a surprise inactive. He went the other way. Usually guys have a limited practice or they don't practice at all, then a limited one, then a full practice. This guy was full, and then all of a sudden out. So, I mean, there's a lot of appeal for a back and forth in that Seattle LA game. And for me, this one's a little, I don't want to say gross, but like this is not my style. This is more of a why is the field not doing this? So I will do it. Everyone's talking about these chalk New Orleans guys, and nobody's playing Derek Carr, man. I think Jay is. It's just like for me to see Alvin Kamara mega chalk, Taysom Hill's gaining steam. There's another tight end there who's actually your boy. I have higher owned than Taysom Hill, so you might be able to play the other guy in cash, but we'll see.
Kyle Pitts.
You have what's that? Sorry.
Oh, well, we'll talk about tight ends in a bit. Also, go ahead.
Yeah. Like no one's playing Derek Carr, man. Everyone's playing Olave. Everybody knows how I feel about Chris Olave, right? So everyone's playing Olave. Everyone's playing on Kamara. No one's playing Derek Carr. Derek Carr coming back, taking the reins from this offense. Who'd say that this guy just doesn't go and drop 45 points on Carolina's head? You know what I mean? Like that's the thing for me where can it be an Alvin Kamara 175 all-purpose yards, 4 touchdown kind of day? Like we had on, I don't remember if it was Thanksgiving, Christmas a couple of years back. Yeah, absolutely. But at the same time, there's a lot of potential here for Derek Carr to pay off at only 5,600.
Respect. Oh, we got Isaiah saying he's good to go, and then Cedric saying B-Rob is out. If you guys could confirm, that would be great. Last thing to note, I mean, we don't want to have to talk about Kirk Cousins and Dak Prescott, right? By far the highest total on the board. I think Dak Prescott's a great play.
Brian Robinson's inactive. So
Brian Robinson is inactive. Okay, yeah. I got to hit the projections after this then. All right,
you were saying,
last question for you. Gardner Minshew and Bryce Young, are they in play? The reason I asked that is because I don't know if you were, but DJ and I were on Spencer Rattler at 4K minimum a couple weeks ago when he was making his debut.
Yeah.
For only $400 more, Bryce Young has multiple starts in his NFL career, so it's like It's not good sample size at all. It's awful. Maybe that's the answer, is like Bryce Young we knew sucked. We didn't know what happened with Spencer Rattler going into it. Gardner Minshew, we've seen have good games. Cincinnati's defense is a wet blanket. New Orleans defense is the walking wounded right now. Do you have any interest in just completely punting to Bryce Young and stacking him with, let's say, a popular Jalen Coker, running it back with Chalky Kamara and Chris Olave and potentially even Taysom Hill, and then just getting fucking studs elsewhere, or no interest in these punt quarterbacks?
Quick answer, because it's almost 10:30. No.
Yeah, we have not touched another position.
Yeah, I have zero Bryce Young. It's not happening. I'm playing Stafford and Derek Carr low. I'm not playing any Bryce Young. But I'm not going to talk anybody off it.
I just think the builds are interesting. I went to Caleb Williams. Also, real quick, my last thought on Caleb Williams. Here are the teams that have the bottom five bottom pressure rates in the NFL in the 80 model that you helped me build, so I appreciate that and all the weighting that we do. Jacksonville Jaguars, 29.6 fantasy points for Caleb Williams. Carolina Panthers, 23.6 fantasy points for Caleb Williams. Indianapolis Colts, I think he went over, he had like 24 that game, because I'm looking at just Fantasy Pros game log. They do not count the 3-point bonus for going over 3. So against Carolina, he actually had 27 points. So guys averaging 25.75, give or take, fantasy points against teams that don't pressure. Play Caleb Williams. Running backs. Up top, everybody's going to play Alvin Kamara. I know DJ. What's funny is DJ in like his article is damn near like my playbook. We are never lockstep, but which is cool to see. 7K and above. I'm just going to talk about a couple guys. We'll get moving quickly here. Always like James Cook. I think that he's an absolute stud at 7,200. I'm not going to play J.K. Dobbins. I love Kenneth Walker in the spot at 7,300. I love picking on the Rams run defense. Bijan Robinson is a staple for me. I believe he is in my cash game lineup. Actually, he's not in my cash game lineup. I went with Drake London for my Falcons exposure there. But Bijan is in every single tournament lineup that I'm playing today. I fear I don't have enough Jahmyr Gibbs. DJ is very high on him. I have no interest in Alvin Kamara. I hope that doesn't kill me. But 7,800, with how much we're going to see Taysom Hill, this game could get out of hand. I don't think we need to see a ton of Alvin Kamara, but that game got out of hand the first time, and he beat the living shits out of the Panthers himself. Kyren Williams, I'm not a Kyren Williams guy. I don't know what I need to see to ever like this guy, because he does it every single fucking week. His rushing prop, I believe, is at 100 yards, which is insane. You can almost bake him in for the 3-point bonus on DraftKings, and I think FanDuel does it now too. Saquon Barkley, great price for how good he is and a great game script. I fear I don't have enough of him. Derrick Henry, I don't know. Large field GPP, sure. But Bijan Robinson's my guy at 7,400 up top. And I'm fading Kamara fucking everywhere, and I hope that doesn't kill me.
I'm forcing in at least one of these 7K plus guys, because that was my longest list of running backs that I've had in a really long time. I'm not playing Derrick Henry or Saquon at the top. If you guys want to, it's only $200 or $300 more than the next guy that I'm going to mention, so go for it. But for me, it's Kyren Williams. I really do like Rams upside in this game on the road. I'll leave it at that to keep it nice and short and sweet. Alvin Kamara is Alvin Kamara. Look, it's what it is, but there's a lot of guys here. Jahmyr Gibbs, huge interest in Jahmyr Gibbs with bad weather against that Green Bay run defense, the explosiveness that's there. When this guy hit the hole, he's gone, man. Like, his inside running is night and day compared to last year. Like, he was good last year between the tackles. This year, it's night and day, man. His vision is vastly improved and completely passes the eye test for me. Both him and David Montgomery are of interest for me. We'll talk about David Montgomery when we get to that next range of running backs, but Jahmyr Gibbs firmly in play for me there. You talked about Bijan. I don't really have all that much Bijan Robinson today, but again, it's
get more, get all of it.
Kind of, yeah, like it's more than okay for me, especially at home. I just rather pick on Dallas's secondary today, but with everyone going Dak and Dallas passing attack, I know Drake London's popular, but there's a lot to like with Darnell Mooney. You could even stack Bijan with Kirk Cousins, etc. So you know what, I'm okay with Bijan. I'm in line with the field a little bit slightly over, nothing too crazy, because I have so much Kenneth Walker. $100 cheaper. I love Kenneth Walker today. I think we see an increase in passing looks as well. Over the last couple of weeks, he has been getting targets. It's been up there, man. And that's something that, you know what, it's not a trend to go overlooked. Seattle typically was one of the teams that used scat backs the most over the last couple of years, right? We saw that from the Marshawn Lynch days, where it's Marshawn doesn't catch passes. It was very Derrick Henry-esque, right? It's like Marshawn Lynch getting 20 carries, maybe he catches a pass or two. And we saw it the last couple of years between Charbonnet and DJ, guys like DJ Dallas, etc. Like they were always scat backs there. Kenneth Walker finally getting passing looks in this offense for me catapults him into that next fantasy tier. So at 7,300 at home, no DK Metcalf, no offense, a lot of appeal there. Sharing my love with Josh Allen is James Cook, and I'm perfectly fine playing both of these guys together. I know Amari is in town now, and they have Keon Coleman. Shakir seemingly doesn't drop a pass apparently when this guy gets targeted. So they have a lot of weapons there, but James Cook at home against Miami, keeping that offense off the field. I think this is a big statement game for Buffalo to really solidify that division. And nobody's playing either James Cook or Josh Allen. I think there's a lot to like about Buffalo. Even if you're not playing them in the main slate, at least make an early only lineup and load up on Buffalo guys. Super easy to stack Josh Allen. None of Amari Cooper, Keon Coleman, or Khalil Shakir are super expensive. Neither is Dalton Kincaid. And James Cook at only 72, more than doable to fit into your main lineup if you wish. But that range for me is the range that you have to get right, because if you're fading Alvin Kamara, like we're both kind of hinting at, you said it explicitly, I'm kind of hinting at it, it'll either make or break you, because this guy could easily go for 175 all-purpose with 4 touchdowns and you're made. But at the same time, if you get that sub 5% running back in that $7,500 range correct, that can win you $1 million today. And I really do think that for me, if there was a way to do that in optimizers where it's like play one of running backs of $7,000 plus in all lineups, that's what I would do today. I would just add those guys in all of a group. Everybody that I just named: James Cook, Kenneth Walker, Bijan, Jahmyr Gibbs, Karen Williams. If you want to include Derrick Henry and Saquon, go for it. I'm not. I had to limit it somehow, so those were the two that I left out. I would force at least one of those guys in every single one of my 100 lineups that I'm really making today, because I do think at least one of them, if not two, are in the $1 million lineup this week.
Okay. I don't think we need to talk about Chase Brown. Is there anybody sub 5,900 on DraftKings you're interested in? The answer to me is no. I'm with you. I'd like to pay up at running back.
The only guy I'll mention, because I don't want to say I have a soft spot for him. I just think he's talented when he gets the opportunity. I feel like early on this year he hasn't gotten enough. He has gotten it in a couple games, and he's really shown out. Rico Dowdle at 6K is a
God damn it! Now let's go to wide receiver.
Enticing pivot to Chase Brown. I listened to you talk about Deshaun Watson for weeks on. You could listen to me talk about.
It was like two. It was twice.
You were talking about Deshaun Watson. Jay laddered his props and everything. No. We're gonna talk about Rico Dowdle.
I didn't do
like
that.
Rico Dowdle at 6K, with everybody playing Chase Brown. Obviously, Chase Brown in a much better spot, but Rico with Zeke not traveling with the team. I know Dalvin Cook has been elevated, but this is not 2018. It's not happening. Rico Dowdle there at 6K is extremely enticing for me. That's all I'll say.
Respect. Wide receivers. Here we go. Up top, is there a better play on this? Dude, I mean, all three of the fucking top studs are awesome. AJ Brown, fantastic. All Jacksonville does is play man coverage. They do not have the personnel to play man coverage against AJ Brown. AJ Brown has like an expected 40% target share against man coverage, according to the 80 model. That is filthy. Again, my concern there, I don't know if Jacksonville can keep it close, but AJ Brown is someone that, for me, like Jalen Hurts, I won't get to Jalen Hurts in cash. I think AJ Brown is a great play for cash. Jamar Chase and CeeDee Lamb, I think, just have consistent volume all 4 quarters long. I love both of them. Is there one that you prefer? It sounds like Jamar Chase, but there is, I mean, what can you say wrong about CeeDee Lamb in the dome? He's probably going to have 18 targets today.
Yeah. I usually, I always take a stand and say this guy will outscore the other. This week, it's kind of just flip a coin, man. I wish I could give you guys an answer where it's like, yeah, I'm taking this guy over this guy to score more points. I like Jamar Chase
Both
better
guys.
when T. Higgins is on the field. Like T. Higgins is extremely valuable to that offense, and I get it. It's LSU connection that always gets the highlights. Jamar Chase is, probably everyone's top 3 wide receiver in the league. He's got to be in your top 3 at somewhere in there. But it's just, and like I really would prefer if T was playing in this game, but at the same time, this is a statement game for Joe Burrow, and he's not going to look anywhere else besides his boy. So, I'm forcing one of the 2 of them in every single lineup. You have to do it.
I fear I don't have enough. I look at Malik Neighbors as like the same type of guy, and I need the savings because, going down like Tyreek Hill, sure, good spot. Never will talk to. Not a great spot, but we'll never talk you off of him. Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua. I think Seattle plays a little bit more zone than they do man. I have advantage Puka against a zone, Cooper Kupp against a man, so it's like whatever. Not in love with it. Drake London, fantastic. He's going to be a staple for me in cash games. I'm not going to get there in tournaments right now because I really, really do like DJ Moore at 6,500, and no one's going to play him. So my lineups
the same
are
thing for me with Terry McLaurin.
Yeah.
Same
okay.
thing with me with Terry McLaurin. 2% Terry. That's your DJ Moore is my Terry McLaurin this week. We talked about Jaden Daniels in the quarterback segment. If you guys weren't here for that, just rewind when we're in the show. Especially we talked about exactly what happened. That if Brian Robinson is out, I'm going to be way over the field. I was already double or triple the field on Jaden Daniels. Now I'm going to be way more. The rushing upside's there. And ever since they said that we need to get Terry McLaurin more looks, this guy's getting double-digit targets almost every single game. No one's playing him. I see him at 2% rostered right now. So it goes along those same lines. Malik Neighbors, DJ Moore, like you're getting that number 1 alpha wide receiver. Yes, it's not in the same tier as those top 3 dogs with AJ Brown, Jamar Chase, and CeeDee Lamb, but you could do a lot of damage with that extra $1,000. It gets you away from the Cedric Tillmans and the Cokers of the slate and the tight ends, et cetera, et cetera. So makes things interesting.
Respect. All right, going down. Jackson Smith and the Jigba right next to Chris Olave. What do you think? They pass the ball so much. Like Seattle has the highest pass rate over expectation. Jackson Smith and the Jigba is getting 10 targets today. There's no way around that, and no one's going to play him. That's where it's like I can't pay up for wide receiver higher than Malik Neighbors because JSN grades so goddamn close to those guys too. Khalil Shakir at 5,900 has.
Well, that I was about to mention him. You just ended up reading my mind there. For me, it's look, Chalk Olave, you guys want to play him in cash, go for it. But again, it's this whole thing where people are playing 3 players from the same team in cash. Like last week, it was Bo Nix and Javonte Williams. I get it. You do it because they're both highly rostered, but Javonte completely flopped last week. So it's like that's where, again, it doesn't make sense to me to play Alvin Kamara, Chris Olave, and Taysom Hill. If you're playing 2 of them in cash, like if you're playing 2 of them in cash, go for it. But for me, 3 is absolutely ridiculous, and I think the easy one to swap out is going to be Taysom Hill because there's another chalk tight end there. But again, I just don't see it, man. The only places I play Chris Olave is in my Derek Carr stacks. Like I said before, with Derek, everyone's playing Saints and no one's playing Derek Carr. That's where I'll eat chalk because if Chris Olave goes off, that means Derek Carr's going nuts and no one's playing Derek Carr. So that's where I'll accept Chris Olave.
Do we need Olave to go nuts, though? Do we need Olave to go nuts at only 6,100?
For me, yeah, because I think JSN goes nuts. I think Darnell Mooney could have a game, and I think Khalil Shakir goes like. For me, it's Josh Allen and Khalil Shakir is one of my most popular stacks today, and it just helps that Amari Cooper just got ruled out. Like that was one of my top. Like in a 3 max tournament where I'm not entering 150, Josh Allen and Khalil Shakir were already one of the 3 stacks.
Fuck. All right. This gonna be a wild. This is a wild slate. There's so many great paths, and I have not met one other person besides DJ's article that is interested in Caleb Williams and DJ Moore. So it's like, yeah, Keon Coleman in a great spot now. Khalil Shakir in a great spot now. Ladd McConkey, 15% owned. I'm seeing there's no way he's that high owned, but funny. I don't know if you guys listen to the First and Stix podcast, I called Ladd McConkey a missionary man on the podcast last week, and he goes for like $120 and 2 touchdowns. Like, fuck, you are a versatile lover, aren't you, Ladd McConkey? I knew it. I doubted it, but I will never play that guy. I'll play him in cash, but dude, he's just a 5 for 55 guy, and to me, that's
You're
a
getting
missionary
Cole
man.
Beasley flashbacks.
Yeah, dude. Like, why is it always these fucking 5'10" white wide receivers that just shove it down my throat all the time? But Ladd has been fucking not DFS relevant until last week, and he was in the Millie Maker lineup too. That's the funniest shit. Is like, I literally call him a missionary man, and someone wins $1 million playing. Cortland Sutton, 5,400, good game script. Marlon Humphrey being back hurts that a little bit, but I'm okay with him. Any love for Jacoby Myers, 5,300?
Gross.
Really? You don't like Jacoby?
Gross.
Why?
I'm not playing chalk receivers with like CFL level quarterback play.
Is he going to be chalk though when Keon Coleman's right there?
Now it's everybody's going to go Eckler at the exact same price over Jacoby. That was the cash build. It was Kamara, Chase Brown with like 2 punt wide receivers, Jacoby and CD. That was the cash build. And now everybody's going to go Eckler over Jacoby.
If you had to choose Keon Coleman or Jacoby Myers,
Keon Coleman.
Really?
Keon
okay.
Coleman. No, next question.
I think my main lineup can let me do that. I just have to punt defense. I like Keon Coleman. He's getting.
So you could find the $100 to get the Keon Coleman.
Yeah. So here we go. Against Miami's defense, they play pretty much all zone. We'll see a lot of cover 2 and a lot of cover 3. And a good bit of blitz. So for Buffalo against a blitz, it is Keon Coleman, I guess, because he's playing the X, right? So we'll see him get a good bump up in target share against the blitz. When we see the cover 3, that's going to be all Khalil Shakir, and then Dalton Kincaid and Keon Coleman against cover 2. So I think it's a good spot for, Josh Allen double stacks. Eckler over Brown, no way. I'm playing Chase Brown. I'm not an Eckler guy. They activated Chris Rodriguez. We've seen Jeremy McNichols be useful. I think Eckler is a great play in games that we project them to be trailing points. If you think New York can set the pace in this game, then play Austin Eckler. Other than that, I have no fucking interest in Austin Eckler. I think like if they were playing Buffalo and they're a 4.5 point dog on the road in Buffalo and the weather's clear and Buffalo's healthy and we're like, all right, I can see Buffalo getting a good lead and Washington has to just go, then yeah, play Austin Eckler in that game script. I'm a hard pass in all formats this week. I guess in cash it's okay. Any punt wide receivers like that no one's thinking of, like Darius Slayton, 4,900. I don't mind Rome Odunze but I do think Sean Murphy-Bunting, if I'm the coach of Arizona, you go follow Rome because he's a little bit slower and big body. That's what Sean could do. So I don't love him, but I like the price. Cedric Tillman, 4,300. Everybody chasing the Burton on Cincy. Jay, let us get down to the 3K range. Damn it. 4,300. Do you have any interest in Cedric Tillman? I do not. I love the Chargers defense. If I could play any defense today, it would be the Chargers defense. I do not buy into Jameis.
Mega chalk last week that I played in cash games faded in tournaments. Obviously bit me. I had to fade one of the two. It was between Auden or Tillman. I'm not playing double chalk punt players, and I faded Tillman. It bit me when he scored that long touchdown. It's like that meme, want to see me do it again. That's what I'm doing again this week. You could play Tillman in cash. He's still really high rostered, but I'm not playing him in tournaments.
Respect. Parker Washington and Jalen Coker down at the 3,600 range. I don't have anything bad to say about either of them besides their quarterbacks.
Don't expect much. Don't expect.
Oh, Darius plays out for Philly too. So I mean, Parker's going to be on the inside most of the time, I would imagine. So I don't think Darius Slay matters.
I hate Jacksonville's offense.
Yeah.
No, talking like the only guy I was going to mention in the top 4K range was I always never know how to pronounce his last name. It's Yoshi, man. Like I'm all in on Burrow and
I'm done with him.
And Jamar Chase.
I'm done with
You're
Yoshi.
taking a chance on Jalen, like you're taking a chance on Parker Washington and Coker and guys like that.
Coker doesn't leave the
$300. Find the $300 for Yoshi, man. Like it's just
Yoshi. No, I think I'm with Jay, dude. I am done with Yoshi. He literally blanked
You
me
know he's
last
going to
week.
catch 2 touchdowns inside the 5.
Yes, he will get red zone looks.
It's
I think
annoying.
they're opening up for Jermaine Burton. Jermaine Burton's a better player.
I would love nothing more, and that's exactly what I was about to say, is that I'm not playing either. Like, I don't have, and I'm talking about Yoshi here as if I have 50% Yoshivas, however you, I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing that properly. I'm talking as if I have 50% Yoshi. I really didn't play this guy much, but I didn't play either one of these guys all that much, but I would love to see Jermaine Burton make a statement in this game.
All right, you want to hear
figure it out.
You want to hear a gross one that the 80 Mile loves and I love?
Here we go.
Give me the booty. Kayshon Boutte over 22.5 receiving yards on FanDuel. Murder that. Absolutely murder it. And then murder it again. Like, take money out of your mom's wallet.
You're not going to play him in DFS, though.
I think it's fine to do that. No L'Jarius Need. That secondary sucks. Kayshon Boutte is my prop of the week going in right now. I'm putting 2 units on it, and I think every time I push my luck and player props and go 2 units, I lose. So remember that. But I'm doing it. All right. Jermaine Burton, honorable mention for Jay at 3,100. My thing there is they were chasing points against Philly last week pretty early. I don't think that's the case here. I don't know how much we'll actually see him.
Yeah, I won't.
Tight ends. This show's been off the rails. I love it. Tight ends. What are you doing at tight ends?
We're so back.
Burton is inactive. Son of a bitch.
Yeah, there you go. So it really doesn't surprise me, man. The guy's off the rails, off the field. Like, it's just so talented.
Joe Burrow. It's probably because he talks shit. He goes, I can't put myself on the field.
Yeah, the guy's lost, man. The guy's like has zero media training, zero PR training, zero like how to act in public training. Like, he's just off the rails. But on the football field, he's immensely talented. But yeah, that's just what it is.
I'm gonna have to take out. That's fun.
I'm playing Yoshi. If you guys play Yoshi and he sucks, I apologize in advance. I'm playing Yoshi over the Jalen Cokers of the slate. This is tournament only in cash. Don't go play Coker. But in tournaments, if you look at your build structure and you need that guy to get different, Yoshi at 39 fits the mold. I'll leave it at that.
Is Jamar Chase a must play from Sean?
I think you got to play one of him or C. It's like we talked about these 7K wide receivers a lot, and you could probably get 2 of those guys in your lineup with one of the 7K running backs that I mentioned. Because for me, that's the number one priority. It's believe it or not, it's not the wide receiver position for me today. It's getting one of those 7K running backs in all my lineups is a must. You can't fit that 7K running back with Jamar Chase and CD, whereas you could fit the 7K running back with 2 of those 7K guys. So it really depends if you want to go Jamar Chase with one of the mid-range guys, the JSNs, the Shakirs, there's plenty of good options there that we mentioned. Just rewind after we're done the show. But I think you have to force one Jamar Chase or CD. I'm just not playing both in the same lineup because I'm forcing in one of those 7K running backs today. And you can't play Jamar, CD, and a 7K running back without playing inactive Jermaine Burton. So,
okay. Did you talk about any tight ends you really like?
You never like any of the tight ends I talk about, so I'll go first, I guess.
Go ahead, yeah.
You never like any of the tight ends.
My thing is I am playing Taysom Hill in cash on DraftKings, and in tournaments.
I'm playing Gesicki in cash?
Fuck no, dude.
Gesicki mega chalk, man. Gesicki mega chalk.
Not interested. I think that he is their slot receiver when they're chasing points. I don't think his day is. I don't think his day is that busy. Yeah, I like Gesicki in games that they are obviously without T in games that they're chasing points. If this one gets somewhat out of hand, then sure, but not really there. I would rather have AJ Barner at 2,600 and just punt it. On FanDuel, how affordable lineups are there. I fucking love Jake Ferguson.
Wow. We are so
absolutely
back.
Love Jake
we
Ferguson.
Are so back. That is my number one tight end on the slate. I was hinting at it before that I have more Jamar than CD, and this is the reason why. Jake Ferguson always was the wide receiver 2 coming into the season for this Dallas offense. And I think he goes absolutely bonkers today.
I like to hear that.
I think there's a lot of appeal with Jake Ferguson. You're not going to like this one, but there's a lot of appeal with Jake Ferguson and Rico Dowdle for me to take. Like, I'll take CD's supporting cast upside versus Jamar Chase's supporting cast upside. That's the way that I'm looking at it. So I'm getting pieces of both of those offenses either way. But for me, it's Dowdle and Ferguson over, let's say, Chase Brown and Yoshi or Gesicki or whoever that number 2 that you deem more important after Chase Brown for the Bengals. For me, that's what it is. That's why I have more Jamar Chase than CeeDee Lamb in tournaments. But Jake Ferguson is by far my number 1 tight end. So I'm still very much exposed to Dallas on the road. They're going to have to chuck the football 45 times today. Jake Ferguson is the way that I got exposure to that offense the most.
I have no idea what defense to play now in my main lineup. This fucking sucks.
I'll play. Right. I'll rattle off a couple tight ends. Mark Andrews at 42. Goldsecki at 31, cash viable with the amount of ownership that he's pulling, especially if you guys don't want to play 3 Saints with Kamara, Olave, and Taysom. Goldsecki is pulling a lot of ownership, and especially now that Jermaine Burton is inactive, it might be even higher. A lot of people are going to chase the game logs of Will Dissly. I don't see it. Same price as Gesicki, but if you guys are playing him, I'm not going to talk you off it. For me, it's really trying to get out of that punt range. So the 2 guys that I have the most of are Mark Andrews and Jake Ferguson. Evan Ingram's not that bad. It's just price is a little bit higher than I would want it to be. But he might see 12 targets today, or at least he should if they want to be able to move the football. Dalton Kincaid and Josh Allen stacks. Absolutely love that play. Sub 5% Dalton Kincaid. Always interested. I know it sucks seeing 2 tight end sets with Dawson Knox, but you will see a lot of 2 tight end sets today with Amari Cooper out. But Dalton Kincaid is still that guy for me at 5,000. I can never get Kyle Pitts right, so I'm not playing him, which means you should, because that means he's going 10 receptions for 200 yards and 6 touchdowns today. So I'm not playing Kyle Pitts, which means you guys all should. But for me, it's Ferg, Kincaid in that upper tier. Andrews, if you want to play Dissly / Gesicki, go for it. But for me, I'm really trying to get out of that punt range. That's what it is. Talked about Jacoby Myers. You're not playing Brock Bowers. It's the perfect slate to pay up for tight end. You're on mute. The big 2024, the guy's on mute.
I'd rather have McBride.
I'm cool with that. I was going to ask you about Marvin Harrison Jr. What you saw in the 80 model there. It's kind of enticing. Sub 5% Marvin Harrison Jr. there, back and forth with DJ Moore.
Don't love the outside wide receivers for Arizona. Last week I loved Marvin Harrison Jr. Like last week was the week to play Marv. Talked about it on the First and Sixth pod. That was the week to do it. Let's defense. I mean, I don't know.
Arizona gaining steam to reinforce your Caleb Williams play. Arizona's looking like a chuck defense.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Caleb Williams is going to fucking carve him up. Like, I am all for it. Like, the field is going to be losing points while I'm gaining points that no one else has to, like GPP sacks. I'm okay with the Giants defense. They do like they're talented. They need to put it on Jaden Daniels. What is their pressure rate? They do blitz a ton, don't they? Their pressure rate's okay. Yeah, middle of the pack. They blitz a ton though. So I mean, you could probably get a pick 6. Deontay Banks trying to keep up with Terry McLaurin's going to be interesting. All right, cash games. In GPP, cash quarterback, GPP quarterback, go.
Dak Prescott in cash and Josh Allen in tournaments.
All right, I'm going Josh Allen cash, Caleb Williams, GPPs. Running back, go upper tier, priority play, and mid tier, priority play if you have one.
Alvin Kamara for cash. I can't pick one of 7K guys for tournaments as a priority play. I'll say.
Or just give me 2. You're paying up for running back. That's fine. Don't force.
I'm paying up. So for me, it's Alvin Kamara's cash game upper tier. Tournaments, it's Kyron and Kenneth Walker.
Respect.
And then mid-range cash, I guess we'll count Chase Brown as mid-range.
Yeah.
And then mid-range tournament, didn't really talk about these guys all that much because we were going off the rails to the show. But Devon A-Chain and David Montgomery are my 2 mid-range running backs for tournaments.
Devon A-Chain and David Montgomery.
Buffalo cannot stop the run, man. Being north of the border, all we have on TV is Bills and Pats games whenever they're playing, whether it be at noon or at 3 p.m. Those are the only games that are available to watch. So I watch a lot of those 2 teams. Buffalo cannot stop the run for the life of them. Like a Pee-wee running back could run on that defense. It's really bad. And Devon A-Chain explosiveness operating as a wide receiver 3. I'm playing the script that they're going to be chasing points because Josh Allen's going to be going berserk. Devon A-Chain at 67 is really enticing there.
Fine. Okay. I like it.
Do it.
For me, up top, my fade of the week is Alvin Kamara. So if he has a big day, don't ask me how I'm doing. Priority play, Bijan Robinson. Honorable mention, Kenneth Walker. I love that you like him too. I really want to play James Cook, but I can't because I'm probably going to play pass catchers for Buffalo. And then, Chase Brown in cash games, and you could play him in tournaments too, just because he's semi-free square. It's getting a little more expensive at 5,900, but you're going to want that value. Wide receiver, upper tier.
CD Cash, Jamar Chase, tournaments.
Love that.
I can't wait for that to burn me. It's going to be hilarious.
It's not going to burn me. It's not going to burn you.
Mid-range cash, you could play Chris Olave. It's beyond disgusting. I might not even do it in cash. If you want to, go for it at 0 in tournaments. Khalil Shakir, JSN. I'll leave it. I'll stop it there. I don't want to be listing 10 guys. JSN and Khalil Shakir in the mid-range.
All right.
And Olave for cash.
Yeah, Olave and London for me in cash. Tournaments.
Both guys I hate.
I still like Malik Neighbors a ton. And DJ Moore. And, dude, my lineup can do it. Jacoby Myers, swap off him to go to Keon Coleman.
Yes.
Way more upside, right? And I'm getting exposure to a team total of 28 points.
Yes.
Keon Coleman.
Yes.
All right, fuck. I'll do it. I'm doing it. But then I'm literally punting defense, and it sucks.
That is A-okay. Don't play a defense. Submit the lineup without one. Don't play a defense.
I wish I could. So it's like then I get off DJ Moore, and then I could play DeAndre Swift. But I don't really want to play Swift with him, do I?
Gross.
I may. I don't know. This sucks. Tight end, I like 2 guys a ton, and I'm playing Barner for the value. I have no interest in Gesicki. I love Jake Ferguson.
Gesicki cash, and Ferguson in tournaments. Honorable mention Dalton Kincaid there for me.
All right, there we go. Appreciate everybody's time. Good luck to everybody this week. And we'll leave it at that. Ghost, good luck, buddy.
Good luck. Got it under the buzzer somehow. We're so back with how off the rails this show was, but
that was awesome.
It's going to be a big week.
Play Kayshon Boutte over 22.5 receiving yards on FanDuel. Get out there, run, double your bets, triple your bets. If it loses, yell at me. But lose it in bad shape too. And if Alvin Kamara goes nuts. Peace out.